So I'm reshooting this because I wasn't too thrilled with the first rendition, I suppose. But I guess this is like an intro to my first ever weight loss vlog, which I never thought I would ever even consider doing. This is so vulnerable, and I'm like a cringe factory. Like I'm terrible, so I know I'm gonna get made fun of a lot. Um, I like to pretend like I'm prepared for that. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. We'll find out. Um, oh God, this is gonna be a hell of a thing. But there's kind of a story behind this. I'm gonna tack on a segment after this with more context and a bit more of an organized, sort of structured uh, setup, because if I just speak organically, I'm going to just fucking ramble and I'm going to go nowhere. So, anyways, keeping this brief, of course, I'm going to be talking a lot about weight, diet, exercise, eating disorder stuff, self harm, food addiction, maybe even perhaps. So, there's going to be a lot of stuff here that not everyone is down to see. I get that. This is your warning. So, um, yeah, after all the context and everything, I'm gonna have my sort of day in the life. Everything I'm gonna eat today, I'm going to sort of vlog. We'll get more into why later, but essentially, uh, how do I put it? I'm looking to be held accountable to an extent, and also like I get the feeling that my estimations of my caloric intake over the course of the day are probably lower than what I'm actually taking in. And I know that some people like fact check, like the bigger names like Amberlyn Reed or Foodie Beauty or whatever. Um, People call them out on their bullshit as far as that goes. So if I have the same problem, please let me know so I can fix it. Because I actually intend to. Um, we'll see if I follow through on that or not. Easier said than done. Uh, Dieting's hard. I've already got sort of a start, as you'll see in the next segment, like I said, that tells the whole story. But yeah, I'll probably just skip right to that because I'm already kind of losing my train of thought here. I'm that much of a mess. So, enough of my terrible, grotesque face. I'll spare you any more of that. Bye. Okay, so instead of being subjected to more of my face, I will spare you that and just put up a still picture of the notes that I came up with, um, and record this purely audio. Um, so a lot of what I would have said you can see on the screen right now on this sheet of paper if you can read my shitty handwriting. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, I briefly alluded to the fact that I've been big since I was not even quite yet in elementary school and struggled with it ever since. I have the same kind of sob story, I guess, as a lot of other big people, in that I've tried all kinds of shit before. Um, I hesitate when I say that because I realize now that a lot of the things I've attempted before, my attempts have not been very serious. I suppose at the time I wasn't actually ready to change or make a lasting change, at least. Um, I do think the whole thing can be emotionally complicated in the sense that it does seem a bit like an addiction. I hope I'm not belittling anybody who's struggled with an addiction to like hard drugs or something of the sort, by making such a comparison. Of course, things are not completely the same there. I would guess that this is more of an issue of emotional dependency, though there are, of course, some neurotransmitter things involved. Like I'm sure when I eat something that I really like, there's probably some kind of like a dopamine hit or something like that. That's totally present. Um, but I'm sure it's still nothing like you would get from, like, say, heroin or something, you know? I'm not comparing it necessarily to that, but there is definitely some form of dependency there, at least emotionally. Um, Something that makes you feel so stuck and trapped, and your brain goes through all of these mental gymnastics to, like, make excuses or to live in denial of various things. And that just makes everything so much harder. Of course, I'm sure this isn't news to anybody, but I'm just saying in the past, I've fallen victim to a lot of those familiar, those familiar sort of, as I said, mental gymnastics that, um, there's sort of like a trend, I guess, going on right now where they're like bigger YouTubers that are filming their not very successful attempts to lose weight, and people are sort of watching the spectacle, I suppose. And I could comment on how I feel about all that, but the same things you're seeing them go through as they're attempting these diets and not having much success. That was me back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean right up until the last several months. But I've learned some things, and some other interesting things happened. This recent sort of attempt here started in December, specifically December 1st, the day that I had my wisdom teeth taken out, because they had been causing me a lot of pain and were sort of crowding out like the rest of my teeth. And it was becoming a serious problem. Um, it was getting to the point where I wouldn't call it necessarily excruciating, but it was definitely very distracting, the pain was. So I finally got those taken out, all four at once. And so, of course, for the first couple days there, you're doing like the basically liquid diet, um, as you're healing and everything. But also for more than a week, maybe as much as 2 weeks, I was nauseous as fuck after that. Like, my appetite was gone. So, over the course of a day, I would have less than 1,000 calories of food. Like, I'm positive. Um, and it was mostly just like a small portion of like instant mashed potatoes or something, one or two of those a day, and like maybe a pudding cup, and that was pretty much it for the first week plus. um, I started gradually introducing back more solid, I suppose, foods. But even so, it was a little bit longer after that my appetite really started to come back. But the thing is, because I had been in such a caloric deficit for however many days, I had already lost like a lot of weight, like 15 to 25 pounds, somewhere in there. I don't know if it was as much as 15 to 20 at the most, and I might still be guessing a bit high, but still, like, for someone who's basically only ever gained and gained and gained and gained throughout their life, um, losing 10, 15, 20 over the course of 2 weeks is like a huge thing. And so that's really what got this started. Is after that, it was like, well, fuck, I've done this much already, didn't even really have to try. I might as well at least try to keep the momentum going. I'm probably going to fail, but you know, I'll give it a shot at least. When you get a head start like that, it just you got to run with it. So that's what I tried to do. And on December 1st, I was 379 pounds. And as you can see on my paper here, I've uh I've lost a bit of weight since then. A bit more since those first 2 weeks. In total, about 41 pounds down since December 1st. So what, 4.5 or so, 5.5, something like that. I'm not very good at math. I'm sorry. 4.5, 5.5 months, somewhere in there, about 41 pounds. I feel like that's not too bad. Uh, I'm sure people could do worse, better, worse. I've done worse all of my life until now. I'm sure people can do better. I'm not claiming to be God. I'm not remotely an expert at this, let alone even very good. Um, Total layman. This is pretty new to me. Actually, consciously trying to make this change. I have lost a significant amount of weight before. In that, back in spring of 2015, I was about 380 pounds. And then it's a long fucking story, but I moved, and with that move came a lot of changes to like my financial situation, my like logistical situation as far as just like where I lived relative to like the nearest bubbles of civilization and all kinds of shit in my life changed completely with that move. And so from spring of 2015 until like spring of 2017, I went down from about 380 to the 290s. So almost 100 pounds in the course of about 2 years, which is, yeah, that's a big fucking change. And of course, to go from 290s in spring of 2017 back up to about 380 after moving again and things changing, arguably perhaps for the worse in a lot of ways, but definitely for the better in some. Um, I'm sick of rubber banding about 100 pounds up and down, I gotta say. I like losing it, but then gaining it back is just soul crushing. And so I'm trying to lose it again and keep it off this time. You see, when I lost that much that one time, I wasn't actually necessarily trying to. I just, I didn't have as much access to food as I did before, and I was more active. I had a more active job, and I liked to walk outside of that. And like I said, honestly, the problem was like, oh God, it's such a long story. I don't know if I really want to get into that now that I think about it. I just, I didn't have too many chances to eat too much. Um, I was still eating more than I should have, I'm sure, but definitely nothing like it had been before. And I was more active, so of course I was going to lose some weight. I just didn't realize it was going to be almost 100 fucking pounds. So that was a pleasant surprise. And of course, all of that got undone after I moved to where I am now and gained back all of that weight. I haven't moved again, but I'm still losing the weight again because of changes that I'm making consciously this time. As you can see on my outline here, the diet plan, just calorie restriction. I'm not doing like keto or Mediterranean diet or anything like that, though I am totally going to take a page from different diets books here and there. Like, I like the idea of the Mediterranean diet, and I hear that there's a lot of good research on it, in that, you know, the cardiovascular benefits of the Mediterranean diet. I really like that. So I use a lot of olive oil. I barely fuck with butter at all. I like my seafood. I'm trying to work in more like fresh vegetables. Um, Whole grains in the on the occasion that I, you know, really mess with carbs much at all. I have been going more for potatoes though, just because like the ratio of calories to like how filling they are is pretty fucking good for potatoes. Like, they're pretty filling for the amount of calories that they offer. Um, but yeah, I'm not. There are no like hard and fast rules aside from just, you know, there's this calorie limit that I'm setting via the app Lose It. Um, I have it set to make me lose 2 pounds a week, and then I also have a subtraction of like 300, 400 calories that I've manually cut out from that, just because I think my metabolism kind of sucks. Um, of course, there are a lot of you that are probably screaming at your screens right now, especially if you're fans of, say, Obese to Beast or Chikara Transformations. By the way, both channels that I adore and have been watching a lot lately. I think both of them are great. Um, there's the whole TDEE thing, I believe it is. And then there's, you know, all the metabolic stuff, your basal metabolic rate and the expenditure stuff, blah, blah, blah. I realized that It's just your basal metabolic rate, which is just, the amount of energy it takes to maintain life. That alone is 60 to 80% of your metabolism right there. And then beyond that, lean body mass is probably the next biggest factor that isn't like an active thing, like exercise, which is probably the next biggest factor. And then it's like your genetics is that last little sliver of influence on your metabolism. So I realized that even if you have like the worst fucking genetics, um, if you have decent lean body mass and you can manage a little activity, then you can still lose weight. Like there's no one, I don't know if I can necessarily say no one. The human body can be pretty fucking far from the norm sometimes. There's very, 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 very few people who are so genetically screwed that there's no way that they can lose weight. Um, if anybody, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but from what I can tell, from what everything I've heard from like reputable sources, it seems like, even if your genetics kind of suck, um, it's not going to make that much of a difference. It will make a bit of a difference, but the factors that are within your control are so much greater that you should still be able to do it. So that's what I'm telling myself to keep my morale elevated. um, let's see. What else? What else? What else? You can see I've got the little stats section there. High blood pressure, that's been on and off throughout the years. Like when I was in the 290s, 2017 or thereabouts, my blood pressure was totally normal. And it didn't go back up until I was already well into the 300s. So I'm hoping that that'll come back down again soon. It kind of seems like it might already be. Um, I don't know. I need to talk to my doctor about that. I'm trying to keep in contact with my doctor, as much as it's reasonable to do so with this whole pandemic situation going on. I will say that my cholesterol generally looks pretty good. I could use a bit more HDL, and of course that's an exercise thing, so I'm trying to work on that. Um, Last time I had like really comprehensive blood work done, I was a little bit low on vitamin D as well. I've been trying to get more sun for that. Um, Aside from that, I don't remember anything that really stood out to me. Like triglycerides, LDL, all that shit looks fine. Um, no like fatty liver or anything. Uh, yeah. A1C is okay. Not perfect necessarily, but pretty good. I mean, especially accounting for my size. Um, Shit like that. Also, I have like it says on the paper, I have a family history of diabetes, like all throughout my dad's side and maybe some of my mom's side as well. I'm not positive, but really the fact that I haven't already developed type 2, I think is I don't know, maybe I've dodged a bit of a bullet. Um, which of course I realize I can't do that forever. So that's another thing that's been weighing on me kind of a lot, honestly, the fear of developing type 2. Um, Man, I really don't want that. I really don't. So that's honestly one of the biggest things that's been pushing me is, watching that happen to someone recently who is, near and dear to me and how hard it's been for them. And, um, God, I can't imagine how they feel being the one that's actually going through it. But even just, watching it happen from an outsider perspective, that alone was a wake up call for me. Um, so there are a lot of reasons I'm doing this, but that's one. Um, my vanity is another. I just, everybody has their insecurities, but me especially, I viciously hate myself. I'm disgusted with my appearance. Um, there's a lot of things going on there in terms of like the gender stuff. How, a couple years ago, I was presenting myself like strictly feminine. As long as I didn't speak, for a while, I was passing as female. As long as I didn't like, use my voice. And even then, some people would just be like, maybe she just kind of has a weird voice. But That's completely out the window because I've let myself go a bit, and I don't feel comfortable even trying anymore because of course there's the stereotype of the man in a dress, that bullshit, and you add being big on top of that, and it's just extremely uh, daunting, the idea of like the potential for like public humiliation I could face from that. I'm fucking terrified. There's a way that I want to live that I'm not engaging in because I'm just fucking scared of public ridicule. Um, that's how bad I feel about my body right now, my appearance and everything. Of course, it sucks for a lot of other reasons being this big. Like it's hard to find clothes that fit that I actually like, and especially ones that are reasonably priced at that. Um, what else? Just the physicality of it is difficult. Everything is so much harder when you're this size versus when you're not. I've noticed as I've been losing weight, especially with as relatively rapid as it's been, I just keep feeling like lighter and I more energy and everything. Like it almost like as it goes along, it gets easier in a sense because like physical activity gets easier. And that just you can recoup some of your daily calorie budget by expending a whole bunch through physical activity. And as you get more physically able, the forms of exercise you can do become more efficient. Like walking takes a good while to burn a significant amount of calories, versus running, you can burn the same calories in a shorter amount of time. And so it just becomes more efficient that way. You can get the same exercise within a shorter time period, and so it's easier to fit into your schedule and all that shit. And so it just kind of snowballs from there is what it feels like to me sometimes. um, so these first 40 pounds, I'm so glad. 41, whatever, 41 or so, 40. These first however many pounds, I'm so glad I'm past that already. um, when you get this far already, the idea of quitting just sounds even worse than it ever did before, because it's like, why would you make all this progress and then throw it away? Like once you get this far, you might as well stick with it. Like you're knee deep in this shit already. Just fucking duke it out. Get where you're going. Goals wise, I don't know that I necessarily have anything solid in mind aside from like a near-ish future goal of getting below 300 again. Definitely want to do that. I'm not going to stop there, but as far as like a bottom number goes, like I'm not going to get any smaller than this number. I don't know. Um, it really depends because it seems like a lot of times people who have been really big and then they lose a bunch of weight, like they'll still weigh more than you would ever guess based on their appearance, because like the loose skin thing, and like maybe there's more muscle mass there because it takes a lot of muscle to be big. And if you're doing exercise to try to maintain at least some of that muscle mass, then you're going to end up like you know a little bit bulked um, by the time you're down around like your goal weight area. And so I don't know how feasible it would be for me to get any smaller than like 180, but I'm not even sure if I could pull that off. So I'm thinking like around 200, maybe slightly more, is like a completely out of my ass guess for like a long-term goal. Once I get anywhere close to that, if I do, we'll see what happens from there. I'm not going to make any promises on that right now. That just seems so. I haven't been smaller than 290 or 280 since I was in like fucking middle school. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. The idea of me getting that small again just doesn't seem currently, from my perspective, it just seems like a pipe dream. But we'll see. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm not going to talk myself out of it if I can avoid that. Um, this concept of simple but not easy. I wanted to touch on that really quick. The fact that I'm basically just doing calorie restriction with not a whole lot of other special stipulations. I know that's going to be controversial with some people. Um, I don't care. Sorry, I don't mean to be so snappy, but people just have all these weird ideas about, like, oh, if you sprinkle flaxseed in your morning cereal, you'll shit out 80 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, no, that's just not how it works. I'm sorry, it's not. Or like the negative calories thing. Like, if you eat lettuce, you'll burn more calories digesting it than you do, that you gain from eating it. I'm not gonna fuck with any of that. A lot of it sounds like bullshit to me. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I do know that calorie restriction has been effective so far, and a lot of people who really know what they're talking about also say calorie restriction is like the main focus. So I'm not going to say that every calorie is exactly the same. I know that there are differences between protein, fiber, simple carbs, complex carbs, fats, different types of fats. I get that those all play different roles, but I'm going to say that those things are kind of a secondary thing to just straight up calories in versus calories out. Um, because a lot of the time, like, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, those things can get stored as fat regardless of what form they came in as. Your body knows how to process shit, and it doesn't store energy in the form of more muscle. You can't, like, oh, if you eat a whole lot of protein, then whether you work out or not, you're going to gain muscle because, protein turns into muscle. No, that's not how it works. Um, so I'm not getting caught up in micromanaging my macros, to say a goofy sentence. Um, I'm not going to do some crazy keto shit. I'm sorry, I need my carbs. I do like them. They make my diet so much more enjoyable for me. Um, Maybe in the future, after like my tastes and my appetite have changed some more, I can revisit that. But for now, I'm just going to focus on calories in versus calories out. And you see, I have some soft rules that kind of, play with some of the advice that I'm sure you are itching to give me. Um, but we'll try things my way, and if I fuck it up too bad, then maybe we'll try it your way. Um, but the 41 pounds so far suggests to me that I might be onto something for now, so I'm gonna stick with it, and we'll see where this goes. Um, oh, right. The big lettering right in the middle. Fact check my calorie counts. If there's anyone out there who like enjoys doing that, like you watch a lot of Amberlyn Reed or whatever, and you're like calling her out on, like, oh, that meal wasn't 800 calories, it was 8,000. Do that with me, please. Because I get the feeling, I really do, that I might be screwing up on the math there, because I do guess things like just by eyeballing them sometimes, and I'm positive that I'm not that great at that. Um, I feel like I could be making more progress than I am if I were more accurate with that. I really need to start weighing things more. I do sometimes weigh things already, but I really need to start doing it like religiously. Weights, measurements of all kinds. I really need to get into that. Like a tablespoon here, an ounce and a half there, whatever. Um, just to nail down the accuracy a bit more, get a clearer picture of what I'm doing. Because there's a lot of shit. I feel like there's a lot of shit that's just going unaccounted for, and I'm probably shooting myself in the foot with that. Um, you know, Unknowingly cheating on my diet, basically. And yeah, I as much as it'd make things harder for me, I'm sure, like the portions I'm sure are gonna get smaller. That sucks, but that's the way this works. That's kind of the point. So I need to be accurate. Um, so if you guys want to help me with that, feel free, please. Um, if you're going to comment, by the way, and you basically just be like, "Oh, gross, you're fat." Number one, I know. Number two, I'm just gonna delete that shit. So please don't. Going back to my shout outs a moment ago, Obese to Beast and Chikara Transformations, as well as Chikara Tries Out, her other channel. Those two, I think, have the right idea. They don't make fun of people. They'll still comment with, like, the health concerns, what they're doing wrong. They'll call them out on their bullshit, but without making fun of them and dehumanizing them. Like, they still treat them as like people. There's still sympathy or empathy. I'm not sure which one is appropriate in this case, maybe both. There's still, they feel for that person as a human fucking being. And that counts for a lot. And that's one of the primary reasons why I really like those two. It doesn't feel like I'm watching them like laugh and poke fun at the circus animal that they're you know that they're ridiculing. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like people who have made a change before themselves, know how it works, and just want other people to make that same journey. They want to see people succeed. That's the feeling that I get from them, and I appreciate that so goddamn much. Um, that's probably why I've been watching those two so much recently. Um, their information, their advice, their perspective has been so fucking helpful for me. So, if you're looking for more content in this vein, I recommend those two. um, anyways, if I think of more to say, I'll just edit in another audio clip, but I think it does it for this one. So, um, see you around. I didn't film it because I'm a bad boy, but I had one of these. I want to say it was around, like 1 a.m. These are 180 calories a piece. So that's not a meal. That's a snack for the day. My first piece of food so far. So, all right, my first actual meal of the day, I'll say. It's 5 a.m. right now, thereabouts. I work midnight to noon, so I'm at work right now. I'm gonna have this now. As you can see, it's not a whole lot. Um, so I'm gonna have this now, and like an hour or so before I leave at noon, I'm going to have a lean cuisine, which, if I remember correctly, is 290 calories, and another one of those Luna protein bars. And that way, eating right before I leave, it might seem weird to have two meals while I'm at work, but the thing is, I notice I have a tendency, if I only have the lunch midway through my shift, and then, ideally I would go home and make something, but I can't be bothered a lot of the time, so I would end up stopping somewhere and eating out instead, and I was like, okay, that's gotta stop. So I've started bringing two different things to work to eat, so that if I eat right before I leave, I'm not tempted to pick anything up, and I also don't have to make anything when I go home. I can just drop right into bed, because I got to come back again at midnight anyways. So 12 on, 12 off, 12 on. um, I just, I don't have the time and energy to be cooking that much. I mean, I'm sure I could technically fit it in, but as much trouble as I have sleeping, the more time I have to deal with that struggle, the better. So, anyways, all right, here we are, meal number two. Another one of these Luna bars, again 180, and this lean cuisine 290. And I'm tired as fuck. It's just after 10, so I'll be going home not too long from now, and I won't be eating again until later tonight, sometime around 8 to 10 p.m. After I wake back up. Um, Hopefully, I get more sleep tonight than I did last night, because this has been a rough one. But, anyways, yep. All right, you'll just have to excuse the lighting here. I'm sorry, my room is not the best for this kind of thing. But anyways, I got my sleep and I'm awake again. It's right about 8 o'clock p.m. I go back to work in 4 hours, but I've got some grapes here. I'm gonna count these after I'm done shooting this. And then my girlfriend made huevos con chorizo. So we got scrambled eggs at the bottom there, and then some dollops of chorizo, salsa, corn and mushrooms. There's onions in the chorizo as well. She might have put jalapenos in there too. I saw that she had the jar out, but I don't necessarily know where those went. So we'll find out. And some corn tortilla chips here. I weighed them out. It's 1.5 ounces. So um, I'll finish counting this up and total it into lose it. And I'll cut to another segment where we go over like my whole day and lose it. So see you there. All right, so here's my day in Lose It. Um, you can see up here the stuff that I had at work last night, and then we get down here and did dinner. Um, so the grapes were actually like 30 something of them, but I just rounded up to 40 to make things easier. Um, you can see here my sort of estimations as to how much of each component went into dinner, at least the portion that I took. Um, like the tortilla chips, I did weigh on a scale, so I know that that was 1.5 ounces. The scrambled eggs, I saw her beat five in the bowl and then dump them into the skillet, and I took definitely less than half, so two is my best guess there. I wish I had weighed the serving of chorizo that I took. Like what I did was I already had the plate with the chips on it because I had weighed that first. I should have put the eggs on, and then I put the chorizo right on top of the eggs after that. I should have put the eggs on the plate with the chips and then pressed the button to zero the scale again and then put the chorizo on top. And then, that would have given me the weight. That's what I should have done, but I didn't think about it. So I'm going to have to be smarter about this stuff. uh I don't know. I'm not a good estimate of like weight when it comes to stuff like that. If they had given me the option to like pick out my portion of chorizo by like tablespoons, for example, I would have had a much easier time with that because I would say I would have had like maybe 3 tablespoons of chorizo. I was using a fork to dip it up because I was hoping some of the grease would run off of it. As you saw, there was still plenty on the plate. Um, oh well, my girlfriend loves chorizo, so we're not gonna stop having it. But and I don't mind it either. I just grease feels relatively unsatisfying for how calorie dense it is. So I generally prefer to use enough olive oil to get something cooked without like completely fucking sticking to the skillet, and then otherwise stop there. Like I don't rarely ever use butter in anything, and if I do, like the whole pot that serves me and my girlfriend and is going to make leftovers, I'll put like a tablespoon or two in at the most. um on the rare occasion that I use butter, like I said. So yeah, not my favorite thing about chorizo, but that's okay. So this is what I came up with. um you can see at work I did get a bit of walking in. I know I did more than that because what I would do is I walk laps around the building. So the building, the sidewalk around it, I used onthegomap.com to plot that out, and it comes out to like 0.19 miles to make one lap around the building. I did like 6 or 7. Um, so I just counted it as 1 mile and 2 miles per hour. So um, yeah, didn't burn a whole lot of calories there, but it was something. I also I did some laps like up and down the stairs of the building. It's only a 2-story building, so um, it's nothing too crazy. But I went up the stairs from the ground floor up to the top 3 times. So, but I didn't count that because what I like to do is I try to overestimate how much I'm eating, because if I guess higher than what I think it is, then I'm probably just being more accurate rather than actually guessing high, because my first instinct is probably to guess low. So I try to overestimate, quote unquote, what I'm eating and underestimate or undertrack. Oh shit. Sorry. Um, Underestimate or like not completely track all of my exercise. So that way, like it's probably just more accurate that way, to be honest. Um, I don't try to like penny pinch every calorie that I gain back by exercising, because I feel like that's just going to be counterproductive to what I'm trying to do. Um, so yeah, like when I lift weights or something, I don't have a rack or a bench or a barbell or anything. I just have a couple dumbbells, like two 10-pound dumbbells and 130, a couple vest weights. And like I'll find like random household objects that are heavy. Like I have well shit, I have an armor vest. It's level 3 plus steel plates, 10 by 12s, AR 500. So like I'll use that as an improvised weight. But anyways, I don't count it when I do shit like that. Um, because I don't feel like it's probably burning all that much calories. Anyways. And like I said, I'm not like desperate to give myself room to eat more, because the whole point of this is that I need to eat less. So, anyways, I've went ahead and switched it off so that it's done for the day. Um, I've still got a couple hours left in the day, and I'm totally full after that. That was a heavy dinner, as you can see. So I do not need to eat anymore. No desire, no need. I will probably start getting hungry again around like 2 a.m., just a couple hours after I get to work, but I'm going to just try to keep myself occupied and not think about it until 5 when I have lunch again, which is probably going to be a lot like this again. Like the breakfast slot there is going to be a different one of those Fit Kitchen things or Lean Cuisine with one of those Luna protein bars. And lunch is going to be the same story as well. And yeah, next time for dinner, I'll probably, I don't know, I might cook something. I'm trying to think. Tomorrow is like, after tonight, I'm off. But of course, tomorrow I'm going to be sleeping all day. So I may or may not cook. The thing is, I'm not going to stretch this video out so that I'm doing 2 days. The whole point of it was to do one, and that was going to be it. But I'll do a separate video at another time for like a weekday when I'm off. So like I can kind of, I don't know, get more footage of like my own cooking, so you can get a feel for like how I'm trying to be with shit. Um, because today was all just the prepackaged stuff, and then my girlfriend cooked. So um, I have some ideas. I was thinking we've got some frozen beef liver. I was thinking of making pate and serve that on crackers or toast with um, some kind of vegetable that I haven't decided yet. I really like to do roasted broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Like those two are my favorites. Of course, I do other shit. Um, so I had that idea. I might do seasoned broiled shrimp with like sort of Mexican restaurant style rice and um, probably again broccoli. Oh no, onions, peppers, and mushrooms. I forgot. I like to season those and put some Worcestershire sauce on them and saute those. Just red pepper, green pepper, onion, and some portobello mushrooms. That's some good shit. I really like that one, so I would probably do that. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't mean to drag this on so long. I did weigh myself. Actually, I forgot to log that. So good news. I weighed myself and it came out to 336 on the dot. No point anything. Um, that's the first time I've seen it go that low. I've been floating around between like 342 and 337, So what I'll do is just anytime I see a number that's lower than before, I'll log it, but otherwise I won't log it. Because the lower I have my weight listed and lose it, the tighter budget it's going to give me, and I want a tighter budget. Um, at least to an extent. I'm getting pretty low already. Like 1687 a day is not a whole lot of calories, especially for how active I would like to be. If I start getting more physically active, I might set it to like a strict, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1600 to 1800, and just have it set there like a fixed budget, and just try to be more active. We'll see if I can actually manage that. Um, I like having a lower budget because, like I said, I get the feeling that I'm probably going over, and I just don't realize. Like how it says I'm 18 under today, I probably counted something lower than what it really was, so I'm probably over by a bit. I would guess over by 100 to 200, maybe. Who knows? Um, so if I give myself a tighter budget, if I'm aiming for 1400 and I'm going to end up like 200 calories over, then that's going to put me, sorry. Just had dinner, so um if I'm aiming for 1400 and I end up 200 calories over, that's only going to put me at 1600. Where if I'm aiming for 1800 and I'm 200 calories over, that's going to put me at 2000. So I like having a lower budget, even if I'm not necessarily hitting it quite accurately. As long as I'm actually trying to stay within the budget, the lower it is, then, the lower I'm going to be going, um, regardless of what the actual total ends up being. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. Like, I'm bad at communicating, so maybe not. Anyways, if I got down to 336 today for the first time, then um I feel like I'm still on the right track. Things have definitely slowed down. Like, here, I'll pull this up. Just back it out to, I don't know, maybe a year is too far. It's, yeah, 6 months. 6 months is better. So you can see where I started, 379 down to 336. You can see the curve here is definitely a bit less steep than it was in the beginning. Things are kind of slowing down. It's not that bad yet. Um, I don't know which ways. This is probably going to illustrate it better because it's going to. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of leveling off a bit. Things are slowing down some. Of course, when you first start losing weight, especially the way that I did with the wisdom teeth thing and like barely eating for a couple weeks, like that was a big shock to my system. And so a whole bunch came off like super quick because I went from like 3,000, 4,000, maybe 5,000 calories a day. Who fucking knows? Totally not watching my eating, down to like a couple little cups of instant mashed potatoes and a pudding cup or two a day. Like, yeah, that's going to drop you hard. So the first like month or two there, well, really the first month basically, um, it was such a steep drop off, and now things are really slowing down, and I'm trying not to get demoralized by that. Like, I have my plan set up to be, oh shit, this is gonna be, I don't know if we're gonna be able to. How do I do this again? I fucking forgot. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. Um, let's not press the stop button on my recording. So you can see how I have my plan set up here. 2 pounds a week. I don't know if that's the weight I'm still going. It feels like it's more like the rate. I mean, not the weight. Jesus Christ. It feels like I'm down to 1 to maybe half a pound a week at this rate. Which, again, like, I'm trying not to be demoralized by that, but it's just not. Of course, it's not what I have in mind. So, anyways, we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to keep a closer eye on it, and just try to be more diligent, because I'm going to be honest with you, like, as you can see here, there are definitely days when I go over. I'm better about it sometimes than others. Like, I'll have, a stretch of 2 or 3 weeks where I don't go over at all. And then I'll have a week where I go over like every day. um, I'm not like terribly, like, none of these are like, oh, I ate twice my daily budget in one day or something. Like, I don't go crazy overboard, but still, I have room for improvement, obviously. So I'll have to be more diligent, keep a closer eye on it. Hopefully, I will be still going at the rate of 2 pounds a week. I want that to be accurate. I really want that to be accurate because that would just make me feel so much better about what I'm doing. Because it feels like, you know, I'm hungry all the fucking time and I'm like trying to be more active, and it feels like such a slog. But I guess that's really what it is, though. Like, you just have to kind of accept that. Like, you can't just use that as an excuse, like, oh, this is so hard, I'm gonna quit. Like, no. Life sucks so bad when you're this size that regardless of how hard it is to change it, it's gonna be better in the end than continuing to live like this. Like, the net misery there is going to be lower, even if the diet is difficult. So I don't know. I'm rambling. I should probably just quit this. Anyways, thank you for watching. We'll see where this goes.